Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey! If any of you are looking for any last-minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Melody Lane with all the other rich people, and I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey! If any of you are looking for any last-minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Melody Lane with all the other rich people, and I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Hello and welcome to Nanosecond Podcast. I'm Eric.
I'm Pat.
And we are off and running. I feel like there's a few bites that we could cut out of that and use as like sound bites.
I like the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is cool.
Yeah, no, that's why I picked it. I figured you'd enjoy that. But anyway, today we are going to talk Browns, but we're only going to do that for a little bit because we're going to do best Christmas movie clips, and we might rerun that clip again because it just never gets old.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it never does get old.
No, it doesn't.
But unfortunately, we are.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? That's something.
That never ages.
That's something to ponder.
Yeah. That clip never ages, and we age rather quickly.
Yeah. I'm getting old, ain't you?
Oh, yeah. That's
anybody watching their screen right now, just be patient with me a second here.
So
something got moved and it ticking me off.
With that, let's get into the disaster excuse of a football team that Cleveland has.
Oh, do we go?
The sad excuse. Do we go? Point number one, and I mentioned this on Radioactive last night. How do you have this late in the season? How do you have illegal formation penalties, let alone back-to-back? I don't care if it's one was offense and one was special teams. They're still illegal formations. How are you not lining up correctly when you're this far into the season? And then having that offside penalty on that wide receiver, which is a new penalty because usually on the offense it's false start. But, you know, starting last year, they started calling the offsides on the offense when the receiver is completely across the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. But, how do you have this many pre-snap penalties?
I want to take you back
14 games into the season.
I want to take you back for a second.
Yes.
What did I tell you from the first snap of the first practice this season? I said that team was a mess. Yeah. That team is still a mess. I don't care what they've done. They've corrected part of it. It's still a mess. It's going to be a mess until the end of the season, and it's probably going to be a mess for the next 5 years, the way it's going. Haslam has not got a clue as to what he's doing over there. If he did, he'd get the right people in there to run this thing and make it work.
Yeah, you just led me into my next. Fire Paul DePodesta today. There's no point. He's a useless turd.
I'm not going to stoop to the name calling, but I told you guys from day one, because I saw it coming. Hell, I've not even seen. I've never been on the sidelines of the Browns. I've never been on a practice field with them. I can see it from way out. I can see it from Akron, for Christ's sake.
It's dysfunction. Cleveland.
There is no discipline there. These players are getting away with murder on the practice field, and it's showing on the field. I've said how many games have I said this, Evan?
Oh, it's an ongoing complaint. And here's just a total contrast for you. If either of you bothered to watch the Army-Navy game over the weekend, you saw, for the most part, discipline. And the only time that I recall anybody losing discipline was in the making a play. The discipline as far as their formations, as far as running their plays, as far as acting like a single unit, both of those teams function, and they know what they're about, and they do it exceptionally well. In fact, both teams this year, Army and Navy, both finished with winning records, and you can see that. And I realize that comparing amateurs to pros is a kind of a risky business, but just look at the way both of those service academies have their players buying in. They're saying, all right, we're doing things this way.
That is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And taking things with the... Go ahead.
Discipline is not standing there with your arms crossed while you're in inside the 20-yard line, the red zone, standing there with your arms crossed, watching a player get up and jump off sides. Twice, 3 times. How many times does that happen this year? They shoot themselves in the foot every damn time.
6 turnovers.
It's another thing.
Yeah. You would think
Jameson ought to be sat down and told, if you're going to keep throwing the damn interceptions, you're not doing what we say you're supposed to do, we're going to dump you.
But they should have known that coming in. He throws interceptions. That's been his MO his whole career.
Eric, that's training. That's dedication and training. That can be fixed. Hell, look at Baker. Baker led the league in the flipping interceptions. What's he doing now? I bet he don't. I bet he don't even come close. Baker turned into a halfway decent quarterback once he got over his immaturity issues.
I guess Jameis didn't. He never got knocked down like Baker did. Getting traded to Carolina.
He's a young kid, and
failing in Carolina. He's
a young kid, and he's not been with the right coach yet. Once
He's
he gets that,
not a young kid.
Then
He's
he'll be
been
decent.
in the league since 2013, I believe.
Oh, he's that old?
Yeah.
And then he'll never be nothing but a second stringer anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with Cleveland. They always try to take and turn these second stringers into quarterbacks, and it's just not going to happen. But anyway, Evan, you go ahead and you can expound.
He's 30, by the way, 30 years old.
Oh, 30. Okay. So he's been around a little while.
Well, he's got 10. He's got possibility of 10 more years.
Where do we start? I think you guys probably covered a lot of this stuff. I had contractual obligations before I came in, but that's another story. But I mean, what can we say about this team? They're playing anywhere near where they did last season. That, and I see for the most part the same bunch of guys. So what's different? Why has the discipline collapsed this year? Whereas we knew that they had injuries left and right last season. We saw that, and yet somehow they managed to finish with a winning record and make the playoffs. So, what's different? What's changed here?
I don't know. Yeah. I saw the report last week from Jason LaCanfora, so take that with a grain of salt because he likes to pound on the Browns because he doesn't like our ownership. But anyway, that Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to be in Cleveland. So, taking that with a grain of salt because it's Jason LaCanfora. But, I mean, if that's true, then you know what? Let him go. And then with Haslam talking last Thursday, giving them the dreaded vote of confidence, and then at the same time, in the next statement saying, oh, we'll reevaluate at the end of the season, stop contradicting yourself. Do you want him to come back or do you not? It's your choice, Haslam. Stop talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Well, ownership does that.
I mean, I get that
I've seen coaches get fired. I've seen coaches get. Look at what happened to what's his name? The 1-31 coach.
Oh, Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. Look what happened to him. Oh, he's got our complete confidence. And 2 games later, he's gone. 2 losses later.
That is true.
You're as good as your last game.
Mm-hmm. Who thought Bill Belichick was going to be Bill Belichick? Which is another topic we'll get into in a minute. But I think Stefanski could be a good coach with the right system. Just they screwed themselves by getting Deshaun Watson, which we've known for years. But it sounds like they're going to bring him back and he's going to compete to be the starter. That's a mistake, but I guess what can they do?
He will never start for Cleveland again. That's my prediction.
I hope you're right.
I think I am.
Is Haslam going to push since they're paying him and he doesn't want to look like a fool for making the trade?
He already does.
I know. But is he going to try to push whoever the coach is into playing Deshaun? I think he should be the backup. I don't think he should even be able to compete for the starter. He's been here 3 years. He hasn't proven anything.
He's been in, 13 games?
Yeah, and lost how many?
What was he, 8-5? 5-8?
Yeah, 5-8. In his best game, he couldn't even feel his shoulder because he was shot up so much with, painkillers because he had injured his shoulder against Baltimore last year.
Well, the one that's got me scared now, the injury in the third quarter, I think it was Nick.
Nick. Yeah, I was just about to go there.
I'm anxious for him. He's got to be thinking, am I ever going to play a game again? Is it really worth this?
If I were him, I wouldn't. Was that the same leg or same side that he had the knee surgery on? Do you know which foot it was?
I don't know which foot got hurt. I just know I think it was an ankle injury that I heard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it is the same side, if I were him, I would retire because that could cause a lot down the road, a lot of issues down the road. He could end up being immobilized by that,
But he's tough.
Oh, yeah. They have to be tough. Did you guys see that the injury from that guy, forget his name, from the Dolphins, who he was completely out cold?
Oh, there was a receiver. Yeah, I forget his name. I heard about that. Yeah, he had to be carted off. I think he was unconscious.
Well, they carted Mahomes out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article that said he was seen outside the building on a cart. And he may not be playing the rest of the season. I'd be ashamed.
Mm-hmm. It's Grant DeBose was the guy. But that would be a shame because he's my fantasy quarterback and I am already as bad as the Browns. So I would like him not to get injured so maybe I can win one more game. Or one more fantasy week.
That's going to be hard to do. Anyway, what else we're going to bash?
Not bash. Well, we'll maybe get into a little bit of Ohio State and we can rehash the bashing of Ryan Day because that's always fun. But I want to talk Bill Belichick and specifically the thing I brought up on Four Guys on Saturday. So also tune in most Saturdays at 11 a.m. for Four Guys on Sports here on Crooked River Radio. But I had brought up, so Bill Belichick took the North Carolina job, but I've heard theories that he might be taking the job and might leave for the NFL. He took this job so he can put his son in at defensive coordinator. So when he leaves for the NFL, his son would take over. What do you guys think about that? Evan, we'll start with you.
He's a good coach. He's won 6 Super Bowl rings, which is more than any other coach. He's had, Tom Brady all those years. And we can go into an argument about whether or not Tom Brady made him rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
But he still wants to coach, and I think he can be good at the college level. The other person that I've heard of that made that switch in roughly the same fashion was Bill Walsh, and we know how good he was. So, he's looking to break Don Shula's all-time wins record in the pros. I know that. So he wants at least 1, maybe 2 more seasons coaching the professionals, and this maybe is like a placeholder for him, and if he likes it, well, maybe he'll stick around a little while longer and see if he can develop a couple of those guys, and then maybe he'll pull a Jim Harbaugh and he'll leave near the end of the college season and take an open job and start looking at the kids that he recruited, and he'll see if he can draft them for himself. But that's just my theory on what he's thinking about doing.
But I mean, could you see that theory coming to fruition where he took this job and then all of a sudden he gets an offer before he even coaches a game at North Carolina? Then he took the job again, mostly to give his son the opportunity to become head coach when he goes back to the NFL.
Might be what he's thinking, but we're not at his house and we're not asking him those kinds of questions. So.
Well, let me tell you.
I mean, if we were, he would say, "I'm not sure." Next question.
Let me tell you a little bit about this. I love football. I like to play football. I like to watch football. And I'm a mumbler. People know I'm a mumbler.
I'm the head coach of North Carolina.
They love me because I'm a mumbler.
Yeah.
I mumble.
Well, we're talking about North Carolina. Why was Mac Brown fired? I thought he had a winning record while he was there. Did he just lose the locker room? What happened?
Probably.
They stunk the last year. I think they stunk the last year. I think they had lost like 5 games under Walsh or under him.
On the Brown,
and that was why he was released. I had heard when that happened, but I'm not sure what. Belichick's reasons, no matter what, if he's going to take the job, he's going to take the job. He better do the damn job. But when you mumble, I
mean,
football.
But you got to look at Ohio State, Bill O'Brien.
We only got 13 games.
And by the way, who is Bill O'Brien a protege of? Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it was my son.
But no, like,
I'm gonna crack you up yet, Eric. I really am. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna even do it without a sound effect.
Hey, I'm actually, I've kept my composure and actually kept going with the show today. This is probably one of my best shows on this show in a long time. I've kept my focus.
Well, here's one that'll screw your focus up.
Boobies.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
Well,
that's not going to screw my focus up. But maybe my train of thoughts. But that's been gone for a long time.
That's what we're working on. It's Christmas, man. We got to talk about Christmas stuff.
I was just about to make a Polar Express reference, so thanks for cutting me off. I was about to say the Polar Express has left the station, but thank you. So getting to, let's do something fun before Christmas. Let's bash Ohio State just for a couple minutes before, and especially Ryan Day, because, he's a pincushion for bashing because he deserves every bit of it, especially after he loses to Tennessee. But, I mean, the team is incompetent. They've given up on him. You could see the most passion they've had this season was post-game of the Michigan game when they started that fight. And that's pretty sad when they don't show the passion on the field during the game. They have to get in a fight after the game. Yes, I get it was because of flag planting, which is, immature and childish. But, that's a tradition that's always gone on. And, do I agree with flag planting? No. But do I agree? Sadly, that's a tradition that has always gone on. Yeah. So they're never going to stop it until there's fights, and then schools will get fined for that. But they're never going to fine the school for trying to plant a flag, which they should, because it's bad sportsmanship.
Well, I'm surprised that the whole oversight of the league didn't come down on both those teams harder for not controlling that.
Well, the problem is there was like three other games, I should say, that had the same thing happen.
Well, that's why I don't think they came down hard enough on them. 100,000. You got to realize $100,000 that they were fined. Each school gave back $100,000. Do you know how much the tuition is for those schools?
Almost half that, or even that.
That's probably about a semester. I'd say there's a lot of kids that are in debt that much. They're in debt.
Yeah.
So it's one person. Yeah. What's it to them? So one person goes for free this year. I think what they should have done, it should have been at the minimum of $500,000 for something
suspensions.
For something like that, and suspensions, exactly. And be it if the coaches let it happen, the coaches ought to be suspended too.
I mean,
look at the mess you've had with some of the other cheating that's been going on in the league.
Jim Harbaugh cheating and then leaving because he didn't want to deal with they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Like, if they get caught cheating, they should be suspended a full year and also not able to jump ship to the NFL, because what's that going to cost him? And by the way, he was still able to coach during the week of the games that he was suspended. He was just suspended on game days for Michigan. So technically, the last year he was at Michigan, yeah, he wasn't the coach on the sideline, but he was still coaching that week. He's still coaching the team that week. So what's that really do? He's suspended for the game, but he's still able to they're still able to utilize his game plan that he put together in practice that week. That's ridiculous. I bet if it was Ryan Day that did the same thing, they would have suspended him and said, you're not allowed to do anything with the team.
Look what they did to Tressel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Great example.
And to a point, Myers. Well, no, you can tell where the money's coming from.
Well, then again, Urban went to the NFL.
It's follow the money. Follow the money, and you'll get a lot of knowledge. And the money.
And then he kicked a player and got fired. But that's a whole nother.
You would have been here when Woody Hayes was around.
Yeah, well, he punched that guy.
Yeah.
And then what the heck? Kirby Smart. He hit a guy earlier this year. Well, people say he hit him, but he, I think, was more pushing the kid out of the way so he didn't get in. It was a guy from the opposite team that they were playing, but I think he was more pushing the guy out of the way so he would shut up and not bump the ref and get himself in trouble. But personally, I think that's okay, but a lot of people didn't and thought he should be disciplined for that. But I think he was just protecting the guy. But I don't know. I'll send that clip to you guys later so you guys can have an idea what I'm talking about. But in that case, yeah, things were different back in the Woody Hayes days, though. They were able to get away with a lot more. I mean, there was less snowflakes. not to get political,
you
but
had a lot rougher team back then.
Mhm.
These guys are these prima donnas to the NFL and all that. Back then, you had football. Everybody was a football player. I play football. I stand 6'4", 240 pounds, and it's all muscle. Yep. Right, Evan? You were there.
oh, also another thing on the Browns. How the hell did you get an eligible man downfield on a punt? Like, I feel like the refs are creating new penalties just to call against the Browns. Like, how do you get an eligible man downfield on a punt? Can anybody explain that? Did either of you see that?
Can't say that I did. Of course, then again, seeing the whole field, you're not going to focus on an offensive lineman necessarily, unless it's so obvious that this is, a procedure penalty.
What'd you think about?
It wasn't a lineman, Evan. It was one of the gunners.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, even there.
What'd you think about Miles Garrett
in the main closer? Then I would understand that. But don't these guys, do drills where they understand? Okay, I need to be parallel with, my teammates here until there's a certain moment. Then I can separate.
That's different.
Yeah.
Like that. What you're talking about, like the offsides on the offense and stuff. Yeah, that's one thing. But an ineligible man downfield on a punt, that's not an offensive lineman. Like, or it might not even have been a punt. It might have been just an offensive play. I don't remember exactly what the case was. I think it was a punt. But I was listening to the game on the way to work, so I didn't see the exact play. But how's that possible to get an ineligible man that's not even a lineman? Like, I understand having a lineman as an ineligible man, but how do you call that on a just either on special teams a gunner or a wide receiver? Like, I've never heard of that.
Well, you have now.
Well, again, I think the refs just create ways to screw the Browns.
It doesn't. We're in a lot bigger boat than we all think. Right now, I can think of 3 teams that are complaining about the way things go, that have multi-billion-dollar quarterbacks, and they don't know how to play football. Browns are one, of course. Name me 2 others, Evan. Or Eric, either one.
I'd say the Panthers right now.
You got one.
Certainly the Giants. The Giants have a worse record than we do.
Jets.
They beat us, so I guess that says something right there.
Well, no, because they don't have a high-paid quarterback.
Well, not anymore.
That's true.
I can say that the next one in 3 letters. D-A-K.
Dak. Oh, Dallas.
Yep.
Sure.
And we listen to them poor guys down there all the time. They got it worse than we do in a lot of aspects. A lot of it we're tied with them. But the whole fact of it is, we're in a bigger boat than we all think we are.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look up the official ineligible man downfield.
Oh, they just is it the rule or just 2?
Yeah. To see how because I know that's usually called on offensive line, but how I've never heard it called on non-offensive line, but it was called on somebody not an offensive lineman.
I got to wonder if that's got anything to do with the new rules. You know, the new rules with the kickoffs and that.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing with punts. There was no change on the punt side of things. Yes, kickoff, but punting, there was nothing. So, give me a minute. You guys talk, and I'm gonna look up the rule.
Yeah, it's like I said, though. It comes down to the fact that I think a lot of these teams are in the same boat, and to me, it all comes down to the discipline thing.
Mm.
A lot of these teams they aren't being disciplined correctly. They aren't learning it. They aren't learning that if you have to, in your own mind, you have to know that snap count. And when that snap count, when the number is called, then you move. And you're not getting that in a lot of the NFL games. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is.
So, in eligible man downfield could be called on anybody. If the pass hold on, crosses the line of scrimmage before what? Hold on. If a player who's not eligible passes the line of scrimmage before a forward pass is thrown, this usually is a result in communication issues. So that's the Browns player's fault for not reporting eligible, which I didn't know a non-offensive lineman has to report as eligible. I've never really heard that, but apparently you can. It's just so rare because teams aren't dumb enough to not make sure their players report as eligible, which I thought guys were automatically eligible if they were an offensive lineman again, but apparently not. But with that, let's get into later note to soon wrap up the show in the next 20 minutes or so. Let's get into top Christmas movie moments.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. You want to play all these three together or what? Or just two of them together or?
Two. Let's do the top 10 Christmas.
And then the turkey?
Yeah.
All right, we can do that. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
How about you, Evan? You ready? Christmas, man, Christmas. Where's your Santa hat? You need a Santa hat.
And I'll do the introduction into the video. You are listening to the Nanosecond podcast on the Crooked River Radio. We will be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town. Santa! Oh, my God! Santa here?
Welcome to Ms. Mojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for the scenes where Christmas movies went fully snowverboard and ended up all wrapped up in a total tinsel tangle of festive chaos.
Uh-oh. Somebody's fabulous!
Number 10. Four Dads A-Fighting. Daddy's Home 2. Last time we saw Brad, Dusty, and their family, the dads were trying to co-parent in peace.
Well, she said she didn't like having two Christmases.
Which is on you.
So, what if we all spend a Christmas together?
A together Christmas. That's good. Now you fixed it. See there, now it's off of you.
But things go south fast when their own fathers roll into town, and suddenly everyone's involved in a nativity play. What starts as a battle over who gets to be Joseph spirals beyond the play, as does the fact that someone left the eggnog unsupervised.
Kids will never know it because I'm too good of a dad to ever throw their stepfather under the bus. That's right where you're gonna be, Brad. Under my bus.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna celebrate you morning, noon, and night because it's the right thing to do in front of the kids.
And how do you settle a fight at Christmas? With snowballs, naturally. Poor Don, though, ends up right in the line of fire. We're not sure what Brad's snowball throwing technique is supposed to be, but let's just say it's way more funny than fierce. Oh, and did we mention poor Don?
You know what, Dusty? You're not worth it. Come on, Dad. Good. Psych! You're totally worth it. Dad!
Number 9. Frank Cross's televised epiphany, Scrooged. Bill Murray plays Frank Cross, our resident Scrooge, in this modern spin on A Christmas Carol.
3 ghosts.
Ooh, 3 ghosts.
3 ghosts, Frank. Expect the first one tomorrow at noon.
God, tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. As a matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout. Ouch.
After visits from 3 ghosts, including one that showed him the truth is painful, Frank has a breakthrough. Fueled by his new zest for life and a little help from the wild-eyed Elliot, he charges back to the TV studio, where he's a top exec, to spread his Christmas cheer at gunpoint.
Now that was just an innocent window, and you saw what I did to that. You know who you're dealing with.
I mean, it's a night. You've got a party hardy, Marty. Look at this. Check this out. Whoa!
We love a good live your best life moment, but forcing his colleagues to listen and enjoying themselves under threat? Well, that's beyond unhinged. Do we know where he's headed or how long he'll go on for? No, but we guess we're strapping in for the ride. Number 8. The Search for Turbo Man. Jingle all the way. Unless this is your first day on planet Earth, you should probably know better than tracking down the season's hottest toy on Christmas Eve.
They're looking for Turbo Man.
Hey, everybody! These 2 are looking for a Turbo Man!
Shut up, man! Now, what's so funny?
Yet Arnold Schwarzenegger's Howard and Sinbad's Myron clearly didn't get that memo. Desperate to find the in-demand Turbo Man action figure, these dads will do anything to make their kids' Christmas dreams come true. To say things spiral out of hand would be a colossal understatement.
Because I work for the post office, so you know I'm not stable. Tell him.
This man is totally insane.
Thank you!
When the cops get involved, it might be time to stand down. But hey, who wants to wake up to their kid's disappointment on Christmas morning? Howard even tries to swipe the toy from a neighbor, only to get busted by their guard reindeer? Number 7. Christmas Dinner at a Chinese Restaurant. A Christmas Story. Set in the 1940s and told through a series of vignettes, this messy family Christmas is one many of us can relate to.
Take the home with power of glory.
In one of its most hilariously chaotic moments, the family ends up having Christmas dinner at a Chinese restaurant after a pack of dogs devours their home-cooked meal. Major props to the restaurant staff, who go all out to keep things festive, serenading the family with carols and serving a Chinese turkey. But Melinda Dillon's reactions as Mrs. Parker steals the scene, and they weren't even scripted. Reportedly, she was given a different version of the script, so we're watching her reactions in real time. Talk about the star on top of an iconic moment.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That Christmas would live in our memories as the Christmas when we were introduced to Chinese turkey.
Number 6. The Happiest Christmas. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. There's always that one person who insists on having, no matter what,
and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas
Sure, most of us won't go full Griswold level chaos, but we've all been around that one person who's clinging to their jolliness with all their might, even if it's through gritted teeth. In one hilariously bonkers moment, Clark drags home a Christmas tree he cut down himself, only to realize it's already hosting some uninvited guests. Then his overly ambitious attempt to practically light up the whole neighborhood ends with a power cut. When the family's ready to call it quits, Clark insists they may be at the threshold of hell. But hey, it's still Christmas.
He's gonna find the jolliest bunch of this side of the nut house. You're goofy. Don't piss me off, Art.
Clark, it's over.
Not according to Santa's watch, it isn't.
Number 5. Santa! Elf. When you're a human raised by an elf at the North Pole, you're bound to have a few moments that make you feel like a cotton-headed ninny-muggins.
Why don't you just say it? I'm the worst toy maker in the world. I'm a cotton-headed ninny-muggins.
No, buddy, you're not a cotton-headed ninny-muggins. We all just have different talents, that's all.
That's definitely the case when you land in cynical New York, only to learn that your overflowing joie de vivre isn't exactly shared by everyone, especially not by retail staff during the holiday rush. Not even a visit from Santa can get them to crack a smile, and they really couldn't care less that you know the season's MVP.
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God! Santa here?
Let's not forget that Buddy's entire mission was to meet his father. While Walter isn't instantly smitten, we love it, we love it, we love it.
I was adopted, but you didn't know I was born. So I'm here now. I found you, Daddy. And guess what? I love you, I love you, I love you!
Wow, that was weird.
Number 4. When decorating snowballs out of control, Christmas with the Cranks. The Cranks set off a snowball of mayhem with their neighbors when they decide to skip the holiday madness one year.
Vic Frohmeyer, Wes Trott, and Ned Becker, and a gang of their kids.
We're here for Frosty.
They want Frosty.
Well, they can't have him.
Nora, please give us Frosty.
To top it off, their daughter makes a surprise visit with her fiancé, expecting all the usual Christmas festivities. For most people, holiday madness may last a few weeks, but for the Cranks, that clock is ticking fast. We've all been there, racing through the store with other last-minute shoppers for those final bits and pieces, but hopefully you've had better luck.
Happy holidays.
Hopefully you've also never had to chase a runaway ham or single-handedly try to install a giant Frosty the Snowman on your roof. Yeah, let's just stick to hanging up lights, folks.
Yeah, get a ladder, that would be helpful, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with those clippers, guys?
Got him?
Huh?
Number 3. Gonzo, Charles Dickens, and Rizzo the Rat being a chaotic duo. The Muppet Christmas Carol. As the title suggests, this is a take on the classic Dickens novel, just with Muppets. It's narrated by Gonzo, that is, Charles Dickens.
No, a blue furry Charles Dickens who hangs out with a rat? Absolutely! Charles Dickens was a 19th century novelist, a genius. Oh, you were too kind.
Rizzo the Rat tags along, making sarcastic remarks, getting distracted by food, and generally undermining the seriousness of the story with his constant bickering and comedic reactions. Who doesn't love getting immersed in a good story? But for Rizzo, this is like a 4D experience, before that was even really a thing.
Hey, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat!
My
What
apologies.
Are you doing? Put me out, put me out! Rizzo! What?
Gonzo's dramatic flair and Rizzo's cynical attitude clash perfectly, leading to some of the film's funniest moments. Their antics keep the tone light and goofy, turning a traditional tale into something full of fun.
Oh, jelly bean? I had him in my pocket all along. What?
Number 2. The Grinch Just Being the Grinch. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Look, you don't get a whole group of Christmas haters named after you by doing things by halves.
Oh, that's really mature, saying exactly what I said. I'm an idiot! You're an idiot!
Honestly, we'd need a whole new word just beyond chaotic to describe what Jim Carrey brings to the role. His performance is packed with big expressions, exaggerated physical comedy, and an energy that never stops.
7 o'clock, wrestle with myself, loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I bumped the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. But what would I wear?
He brilliantly blends dark humor with pure absurdity, making it feel like the Grinch is always on the verge of losing it. But in the best way possible, of course. His commitment to making us laugh is the real Christmas gift. And the wild, unrestrained energy he brings in every scene is like the bow on top.
Max! Help me! I'm feeling...
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. I say name, you say the Santa Claus. Don't pretend you haven't at least been tempted to do this when someone's asked for your name.
Name? Santa Claus. Name? Père Noël. Babo Natale. Père Nicole.
Papa Gijo.
A 2-horse open sleigh chase the night before. Oh, what fun it is to watch them chase some holiday cheer. Nativity Lobster. Love Actually. What do you mean there were no crustaceans in your school's nativity?
And I'm the lobster.
The lobster?
Yeah.
In the nativity play?
Yeah, first lobster.
There was more than one lobster present at the birth of Jesus.
Duh.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. One child versus 2 adult burglars. Home Alone. As a kid, there was no cooler Christmas character than Kevin McAllister. Home Alone to do whatever you want? Yes, please. Plus, the kid single-handedly took out 2 grown men.
AC said 10%.
Too bad AC ain't in charge no more.
What do you mean?
Guys, I'm eating junk and watching rubbish. You better come out and stop me.
But let's take a closer look at how he did it. From unleashing a flurry of feathers to using a blowtorch, Kevin's tactics range from tame to completely unhinged. Seriously, how does a kid come up with this stuff?
I'm up here, you morons! Come and get me. You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
We used to think Kevin was a genius, but now it feels like we're watching the origin story of a future mad scientist. Don't get us wrong, watching the bad guys get outsmarted by a very creative child will always be wildly entertaining, with jingle bells on.
Hey guys, check this out.
Oh, go back! Oh, go back! Go back! Okay.
What's your favorite moment of merry mayhem in a Christmas film? Let us snow in the comments.
Thank you for making me a part of this.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Before we begin, since this is Aunt Bethany's 80th Christmas, I think she should lead us in the saying of grace.
Oh, great. Oh.
What, dear?
Grace!
Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
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 Catherine, this turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
Look at that.
Sorry.
Why are you crying?
I told you we put it in too early.
Oh, it's just a little dry. It's fine.
I told you.
Here's the heart.
We are back here on Second Podcast. There was a couple really good Aunt Bethany clips from the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. There's that one we just played, and at the end where the sewer, her husband smokes right by the sewer that's letting off major sewer gas, and it like causes a explosion, and she starts singing the national anthem. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. that
was probably
that prayer at that on that last one. I always loved that little woman anyway. She's so damn cute.
Well, one thing they had factually in
that lady's got to be in her 90s by now.
If she's still around.
If she's even around.
The one thing they had it a little inaccurate in that video was the tree that the squirrel came out of was actually from their front yard, not from the tree farm that they went to at the beginning of the movie, because Bethany's husband burnt down the original tree.
Yeah.
But there's also one movie that they didn't mention in the Miss Mojo video, which I want to say thank you to Miss Mojo for posting that on YouTube for us to be able to view and use. But one movie she didn't mention, well, the actual version of, is A Christmas Carol. She mentioned the Muppets, but there's a few really good clips from the Reginald Owen Christmas Carol from 1938 or 37, one of the two. But where the people go into the business to collect money, and he's like, are there prisons and workhouses still in operation? And then where they ask him, does he choose to remain anonymous? And he's like, I choose to be left alone. And then hold on, there's a couple other where him and his nephew are arguing back and forth, and where he's like, good day, and then the nephew keeps going, and he's like, I said good day, and the nephew's like, well, uncle, I'll keep my Christmas merry, and then I forget the whole line. But there was some really good lines out of that movie.
That the Christmas Carol itself, I always liked that. When they the one I remember the most that had that scene in it that you're talking about was that what's his name? George C. Scott played Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the best Christmas
Christmas Carol.
The best Christmas Carol they ever made. You see that one, Evan? You remember that one?
I had probably seen it in the past, although I have to admit, Christmas Story is my personal favorite. I saw that one that was in the clips that we were just watching there, and I remember that. Here's an interesting little wrinkle about the mother, Melinda Dillon. You know, she had a couple of other roles before that I thought were very different. One of them was in a movie where Paul Newman was the star, and it was it's called Slapshot. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I've heard the movie. I've never seen it.
Yeah, Paul Newman is playing the coach of a minor league hockey team, and Melinda Dillon is his wife, and it goes through, his career, trying to take a losing team and make it into a winning one. Does that sound familiar? But that was one of her earlier roles, and it was very different from the mother, and that's what's that. But I mean that scene right there, that's from A Christmas Story. That's always brought a smile to my face, because we can't have any of this turkey, so we're going to have to figure something else out. Instead, they end up with Peking duck. They call it Chinese turkey. I always liked that one. That was one of my favorites.
I mean, I think the Disney A Christmas Carol kind of wrecked that movie with Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just made it creepy. And then, of course, his version of the Grinch, I think, was highly creepy. That should have always stayed a cartoon. Like,
no, bull crap. I call BS there. That Carrey film, if you went there looking for the spirit of the Grinch, Carrey played a marvelous role in that picture. And I don't like Jim Carrey. Neither does his wife, but we both watched that movie and thought it was very, very well done. Jim Carrey was a little bit creepy in it, but so was the Grinch.
I mean, that's one of those shows that should have stayed a cartoon. I mean, I like the original Dr. Seuss version.
Yeah, they're both good.
Well, there's actually a newer one, too, that came out in like 2019. That's I feel like it's a little less, it's more modernized. And so it's not.
They were actually talking about doing one of the Peanuts cartoons of the Thanksgiving thing with Peanuts, doing that as a real life thing.
Live action.
Yeah, live action.
I just
that would ruin that one.
Yeah, I just think. Imagine if they. Well, I don't know how they. Okay, no. Let's use Frosty the Snowman. Imagine if they tried to somehow make Frosty the Snowman live action, which they probably have, but I just haven't seen it. That just wouldn't look right to me. I was going to say Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but that couldn't be possible because I don't think they could make a reindeer suit. But that would look right. But
as far as Frosty the Snowman, that'd be a hard one to do. If you were used like they do with the blended animation between live and blended animation, you might be able to make that work. But, look at the Roger Rabbit movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best, but it's expensive to do that stuff.
I just find it weird when they do the cross animation and live action. Like, I don't like live action, but also when they bring... There was a show called Fairly Odd Parents back in the early 2000s, Nickelodeon. Well, they did a live action Christmas version with Drake Bell, Drake and Josh, and then... Or no, sorry. Drake was Timmy Turner, and they had, of course, they had to have the fairies because the name of the show, but they had the animated fairies. Like, that doesn't mix right to have animation and live action in the same show or movie.
Did you ever see Pirates of the Caribbean? What about the mermaid?
Not a fan.
What about the mermaid scene there?
I don't remember.
That was probably some of the best animated live stuff I ever saw. As they go through, as this stuff gets advanced, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not sometimes.
And I mean, the new type of animation I think is weird. Like, okay, I think we've talked about this on Radioactive. Like, you've seen the show The Rugrats, right?
Yeah.
They've completely changed the looks. They brought out a new series and completely changed the looks of the things. It looks more claymation.
Yeah, it depends on what actor you can get to play the part.
That's not live action.
I mean,
that's a cartoon.
Look at the Saturday Night Live where they did Beavis and Butthead. You couldn't tell the difference between the two of them. They looked like Beavis and Butthead, and these were live actors. They looked just like Beavis and Butthead. Did you see that one, Evan?
I probably have, but it was a while back. So
I may open with that I'd like to open with that clip somewhere.
Hey, then I won't have any excuses for not knowing what it looked like.
That they're doing a press conference, and I think it was with Trump, and all of a sudden you look over behind this one person talking, and there sits Beavis, and then it goes a little further, and there sits Butthead on the other side of the stage. And they didn't completely have the voices down, but they were close. But that was the funniest Saturday Night Live skit I've seen in a long time.
I have a former supervisor from when I did curbside at Giant Eagle who sounds exactly like Beavis, and it's not like he tries. That's just how he talks.
I can't keep me for my bunghole. Him Carnholio.
Oh yeah, if you get a chance, check Messenger. I sent you a.
I'm looking. Him Carnholio. I need TB for my bunghole. I'm probably getting a look from my wife, but oh well.
Oh well. You're always getting a look from your wife, probably. So
nothing new.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got over an hour in a can already.
Yeah. Hey, this is probably one of, and I feel like I say this a lot, but this is probably one of our best shows in a long time. Like, with not having a guest, this is probably our best show in probably a year. Or this whole year, I would say.
It's been about the first time that we've been on without a guest in a year.
Somewhere around that, yeah.
I bet that's close. The other thing, I was sitting here reading, and I hate when I do this.
Pat rating. That's never. That's never good.
I just stumbled across a viral math problem. It takes the number 8 divided by 2, parentheses 2 plus 2 equals question mark.
Okay.
And at first I thought I had the answer, but I still think I'm right. And it gets me. You talk about stuff that kind of gets in your craw. It amuses me sometimes how stupid some of these people can be. Now, mind you, I haven't got I haven't got a degree in math or anything like that, nor did I ever want one. But you can put you can put 2 plus 2 in brackets and put a 2 outside of it, and you'd be amazed at the amount of people that would get that wrong. And just sitting.
Most people would say 6, right?
No, it would be 8, because your 2 is distributive. So it's 2 times 2, and then 2 times 2, which would be
4 and 4.
4 and 4, which would be 8. And then there's an 8 divided by 8 on the outside of that.
So that would be a 1.
And
right?
That's right. It would be 1. Very good. At least I ain't got to complain about you.
I mean, you had to explain the first half of it, but
if you use, 10 years ago, I may not have been able to figure that out. But then again, I found out this wonderful little thing called PEMDAS, which is parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract.
My brain wants to explode when you say that.
And if you use that formula on that, you'd be surprised what you can figure out.
I think
you'd be
that's just
surprised at how many people don't know that either.
Like, for me, like, I learned that throughout school, but, like, I think my brain just doesn't work that way. I don't know why, but, like, that was always a hard thing for me to get. Like, the multi-step equations, I never was able to do.
I'll tell you what, Eric, it takes, and there again, this can actually apply back to what we were talking about, the Browns and football.
Discipline.
It takes the discipline to learn and the right teacher. You get the right teacher and the discipline, you'll have whatever you want.
Exactly. And I had some good math teachers, but I don't think
it was kind of weird, because if I would have gotten this program or this problem a couple years before I graduated college, I would have never been able to figure it out. But I went through trying to get through college math 4 different semesters. I couldn't do it. I went to the math lab. I went to this and that and the other thing. I just couldn't get it. Well, I stumbled across this teacher that was an engineer at Stark. Well, that's where I got my degree from. And I got talking to him one afternoon. I said, I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this class. I need to graduate. I needed to graduate, but I don't know how I'm going to get it. And he says, what's the problem? I said, well, some of these problems, I just can't figure out how you get that. And he says, where did you work before? Where'd you retire from? I said, Chrysler. He says, well, I'm an old GM guy. He says, I was an engineer for GM. He says, working for Chrysler, did you work with any engineers? I said, yeah. He said, I speak fluent engineering. I said, I know what you're talking about. I said, all you got to do is lay it out for me. He says, well, I'm going to tell you what. He says, as we're going through the class, he says, I'm going to keep you in mind. And he says, we lay these things out, he says, I'm going to show you how simple this is. And within 3 weeks, he had me, there wasn't anything I couldn't solve. And you know what the problem was? I didn't know what PEMDAS was. No idea. I didn't know that was how I didn't know the order of operations for something like that. Mm-hmm. Once I figured that out, man, and got a little bit of practice with it, hell, it's easy.
I mean, I don't like, not to use excuses, but here I go. I think having multiple learning disabilities, that
you have the issues there with that. I understand that.
So, yeah, I think. Plus, I wasn't like medicated for them till I was like 22. So, I tried when I was 6, but it turned me into like a zombie. So they took me off and never put me on anything till, like I said, I was 22 or 23. So, you know, the school was hard. Like, not looking for pity saying that, but like, that's why I'm not bothering going to college, because I know how hard high school and lower levels was, because I couldn't focus. Then again, I was in resource room classes, which had a lot of behavioral or kids with behavioral issues. So I would have to try to tune out when the teacher was spending half the class yelling at students, because they would try to piss off the teacher, because they knew, that she would go off on a rant because everybody was acting up.
Well, college, when you go to college, it's a whole different ballgame anyway. Mm-hmm. And what you get there is it's like an elite school. You're not really, you're the one that's got to learn the stuff. Mm-hmm. You are expected to do it within a time limit. Oh yeah, and it's learn or crap or get off the pot. It's more or less it. And the teachers lay out these program or these lesson plans, and you're supposed to learn this stuff. You actually get what they call a syllabus. I know. In the beginning of it, and it lays out the lesson plan, what they're expecting of you in each week. And if you can choose to go with it, or you can choose not to, and there goes your grade. Mm-hmm. This is more. It's not in high school and in elementary school. The teachers were trying to urge you along. You don't get
to
that
make sure you pass.
You don't get that in college.
No,
right, Evan? You ever been done in college?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, I've had 3 years.
And that's why, like, it's not that I would need somebody to push me. I was a good student. I think I had a 3.1 GPA in high school. So, but I don't know how I passed math class at all. But I think, and that's where I'm or why I'm having trouble finding a job right now that I could support myself off of. Really, the only hope I have right now is I'm supposed to be presenting a training program for people with disabilities to the board of DD soon. So I'm hoping that
if you could get on something like that, man, you'd almost have it made.
I know. I'm just hoping, like,
part about that is they're going to want a degree out of you eventually.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, I'm hoping that they bring me on and maybe the education is paid for.
Well, they'll pay for the college usually,
and
especially the state-run things.
Yeah, because that's my biggest fear, and not to get totally off topic to Christmas and whatever, but that's my biggest fear is being in debt for life, because of college. And a lot of people don't get a job in the field. I think it's only like 40% of students get a job in the field that they studied. Then again, I'll already have a job in the field I'm studying, so maybe that'll help. And I'll have experience too.
Yeah.
A little bit, but I don't know. Because I know you like to be an aide for a special education class, not the main teacher. You don't, advanced disabilities class, like people with severe autism and stuff. You don't need to have a degree.
Yeah.
Like technically I could go in and be an aide right now. I don't think I'd be able to handle that working in the schools with kids nowadays, being with the disrespect and then, whatever. But I could be an aide, so it doesn't take. I wonder if they could take that premise with my program and not have me being or need education. I know I started through that, but maybe they won't require me to have education.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I thought I was going to meet with them tomorrow, because I think I sent you that plan when I presented it to my current job, Pat. Did I?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what I'm presenting. Anyway, so I'll keep everybody updated on that.
That'll work.
With that, I think it's a good time to wrap up. So thanks for listening. We are not going to be on the week of Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and good night, everybody.
Well, you done snuck it up on me. Hang on a second. We're out of here.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Pittsburgh!
The whole day of Michigan, the whole day of Michigan, the whole day of Michigan, we don't give a damn for the whole day of Michigan. We're
Oh, 8.
We're from Ohio.
Yo.
Give a damn for the whole day of Michigan, the whole day of Michigan, the whole day of Michigan. We don't give a damn for the whole day of Michigan. We're from Ohio.